All right, today we're going to do something pretty wild. We're going on a journey way, way back in time. I mean, before writing, before history as we know it. We're going to try and get inside the minds of our most ancient ancestors to ask one of the biggest questions there is. Where did belief even come from?
So think about it. How in the world do you figure out what someone was thinking 100,000 years ago? There are no books, no diaries, nothing. How can we possibly know what they thought about life and death and their place in the universe? That's the huge mystery we're diving into today.
To solve this, we basically have to become historical detectives. And our clues? They're not exactly obvious. We've got silent bones arranged in very specific ways. We have stones that were clearly shaped for a reason. And, deep in the earth, we have the very first traces of art. Every single one is a tiny piece of this giant, ancient puzzle.
So our investigation kicks off with the one thing that connects every human who has ever lived: death. You know, how our ancestors treated their dead gives us this first incredible peek into their spiritual world. And for that, we've got to start with our ancient cousins, the Neanderthals. Okay, just so we're all on the same page, let's get a quick timeline. We're zooming in on the Middle Paleolithic period. That's the era of the Neanderthals, and it's right here, in this huge stretch of time, that we find our very first solid clue.
Get this, Neanderthals didn't just toss their dead aside. No way. They deliberately dug graves. They often placed the body in a fetal position, almost like they were just sleeping. They covered the bodies in this red mineral, ochre, which probably symbolized blood or life. And they buried them with things, tools, animal bones, maybe supplies for whatever came next. In one cave in Iraq, they even found pollen that suggests the body was laid on a bed of flowers. I mean, this isn't just disposal. This is a ceremony.
And that's the absolute key. As the paleontologist Philip Lieberman says, this shows a concern for the dead that transcends daily life. It means they were thinking beyond just the here and now. It suggests they saw death not just as an ending, but as some kind of transition, a journey that you had to prepare for.
So this is where a truly massive idea starts to form. The belief in two separate worlds. You've got the physical world you can see and touch, and then you have another one, a parallel world you can't see. A spiritual world. These careful burials are maybe the first evidence that our ancestors believed death was the journey from our world to that other world. Okay, so they believed in a spiritual world for humans, but it didn't stop there. Our next clue shows that they also felt this incredibly deep spiritual connection to the animals all around them. Way up in the Alps, inside caves where Neanderthals lived, archaeologists found something really strange. Bear skulls, carefully arranged inside what looked like man-made stone chests. Now, it's still debated for sure, but some experts think this could be evidence of a bear cult, a kind of ritualistic respect for one of the most powerful animals in their world.
And then, bam, we shift forward to the Upper Paleolithic, the age of Homo sapiens, and this connection to the animal world just explodes into art. All of a sudden, you get these absolutely breathtaking paintings, hidden away in the darkest, hardest-to-reach parts of caves. But why? Right? Why go to all that trouble to paint masterpieces where no one can see them?
Well, for a long time, the main theory was something called hunting magic. The idea was if you painted a picture of a bison with a spear in it, you'd have good luck on the hunt. But there's another, more complex idea, that this art wasn't about hunting at all. It was a kind of symbolic language, a visual Bible that explained their whole universe. So, which is it? Well, a little bit of data gives us a huge clue. When researchers analyzed thousands of these animal paintings, they found that only about 15% of them are actually shown with wounds or spears. That is a pretty big hole in the simple hunting magic theory. So, if it wasn't just about planning for dinner, what was going on? Our third clue shifts the camera away from the animals and zooms in on us. On humanity, and it reveals this whole other layer of their symbolic world. All across Europe, from Russia all the way to France, we find these incredible little carved statues. They're called Venus figurines, and some of them are up to 40,000 years old. I mean, that is just mind-bogglingly ancient.
And look at them! They're obviously not meant to be realistic portraits of actual people. The features related to fertility, the breasts, the belly, the hips, are huge, while the faces are often just blank. They weren't carving a person, they were carving an idea, a powerful universal symbol of fertility, of motherhood, of the magic of life continuing.
This is where it all starts to click together.
A French scholar named André Leroy-Gourhan. He looked at all this stuff, the animals, the symbols, where they were placed, and he came up with this revolutionary idea. He said, what if these caves aren't just random art galleries? What if they are organized, structured sanctuaries?
So he painstakingly mapped out the paintings in dozens of caves and found an incredible hidden pattern. He realized that certain animals, like the big rounded bison, almost always appeared in the main central parts of the cave. He argued these represented a female principle, and surrounding them you'd find other animals, like horses, which he saw as a male principle. The entire cave, he argued, was a map of their cosmos, built around this male-female duality. Just amazing.
So, all these clues, they point to this incredibly rich, symbolic world. But they also lead us to one final, massive question that scientists are still wrestling with. So let's just quickly recap our detective work. We've seen how Neanderthal burials hint at a belief in an afterlife. We've seen how the incredible animal art goes way beyond just hunting. And we've seen how figurines and the structure of the caves themselves reveal this highly organized worldview. The old cartoon image of the grunting caveman? Yeah, that's completely shattered.
But this whole investigation leaves us with one last, gigantic mystery. We know from fossils that our species, Homo sapiens, first appeared in Africa and the Middle East. And yet, this specific, unbelievable explosion of art and symbolism, it didn't happen there. It happened thousands of years later and thousands of miles away, in Ice Age Europe. Why? Why there? Why then? What was the unique spark that ignited this incredible flame of human creativity? That, right there, is the puzzle for us to ponder.